Hi, I'm attorney James Betzold, and if you're a new lawyer recently out of law school, or maybe you just passed the bar, where you are now, I once was. I was starting my own law firm right out of law school, and I've got some tips that can help you move things along. I hope you find it helpful. Well, that didn't go as planned. Sometimes things go badly. Sometimes people make mistakes. Lawyers are people, therefore sometimes people who are lawyers make mistakes. And they can be very expensive mistakes. This is what malpractice insurance is for. Many state bar organizations require attorneys to carry malpractice insurance. Some states do not require it, but it's always a good idea and always something very prudent and smart that you should do, especially if you're new in practice, where you might be extra vulnerable to making an occasional mistake. That being said, malpractice insurance is probably the least expensive insurance to buy, and can save you the most if something goes wrong. And it's not going to save just you, but it's going to protect your client as well. That's why one of the reasons we say people should go with attorneys and not with a notary public or somebody who's just giving legal advice unlawfully. They've got no accountability. Attorneys do. Your license is on the line. You need to protect it. And part of the way you do that and also protect your clients is with malpractice insurance. So you want to seek out a malpractice carrier, a malpractice insurance carrier that covers your particular practice area. There's some practice areas that are more expensive. Some class action litigation, for example, can be very expensive because its mistakes can be very expensive there as well. If you're a typical small town attorney doing family law, criminal defense, things like that, you're not going to be paying that much for it. So it's definitely worth your time to investigate, find a good carrier, talk with your community and find out who they use, but get covered and keep coverage in place. You want to be sure that you're reading the fine print in these malpractice contracts as well. There's going to be multiple types of coverages. And there's going to be different limits, and so you'll pay a different premium. You'll pay a different monthly or yearly amount based on the different features that you have in that as well. But make sure you read it and understand it. And if there's a question, ask it and get a satisfactory answer before you sign on the dotted line. So malpractice insurance is designed to cover the attorney's malpractice. Missing a deadline, failure to respond to something timely in court, or other, sometimes just negligent actions. It's not typically designed to cover criminal acts of yourself or your staff. You're just going to be in trouble straight up for that. You may need to get a separate business policy that will cover employee dishonesty. So if you have an employee who's taking money or embezzling funds, things like that, that's probably not covered by your malpractice carrier. Find a separate business insurance policy, a small business policy that will cover those sorts of things. The other thing that malpractice can help you with is not only when you make a mistake that affects somebody else, but if you somehow violate the rules of professional conduct for your state, you may end up in front of a disciplinary tribunal. Disciplinary committee? You might be in disciplinary proceedings with your state bar, which means they could suspend you, take away your license. You're not going to make money for a while. That's very important. And you may need an attorney to defend yourself in certain situations. This can be covered by a malpractice policy as well. So make sure, again, you read the fine print. Find out what happens if I go to disciplinary proceedings and I need an attorney. What happens if I'm sued civilly? Will they cover me in that situation? What happens if this and this and this and that? You want to know, and you want to know what your limits are. Being organized is really going to be one of your best defenses against and avoiding claims of malpractice. Follow the rules of professional conduct for your state. You're going to be okay. Just stay on top of your deadlines. Keep your client updated. Don't intermingle your funds with client trust funds. It's just really following the basics. And sometimes accidents happen and things can get mixed up or whatnot, but you need to be on top of it. So stay organized. That's going to be a great defense to begin with. A typical malpractice insurance contract is going to require that you notify them within a certain amount of time that you discover that there's some possible liability. So if you realize, oh, I missed filing an answer on this civil claim and we got defaulted and there's no way around it, we tried it, our client's going to sue us. That's the moment, as early as something goes wrong, you got to notify your malpractice carrier. They may be able to play a somewhat active role in getting you out of the sticky situation. That helps them because then that's less that they have to cover in the future. So you may want to reach out to them as soon as possible. Yeah, and again, this allows them to mitigate the situation, possibly settle or reach a settlement with the client and keep the heat off of you. Additionally, we already talked about the state bar disciplinary proceedings, so that's another good reason to have malpractice insurance. And coverage on a malpractice insurance policy typically begins when you purchase the policy. If you let that policy lapse, so let's say you didn't pay for it for the last 2 years and now you want to sign up again. There's some policies that will cover that gap, but most of them won't, not a 2-year gap. Maybe if there's like a few weeks or a month or something, they may cover that for you as a courtesy and they will have retroactively charged you for it. But if there's years between there, good luck. I mean, you want everything you do from the moment you first open your law firm to the day you retire, you want that to be covered by a malpractice policy because anything bad could happen in the meantime. And it may not be something that you realize or discover even, and that's what it's there for. So no matter your practice area of law, you definitely want a reliable malpractice insurance carrier. Talk to other attorneys in your area, in your practice area, to make sure that you get the best coverage for your dollar. This is one of those things that can vary. You may find that there's significant cost savings by shopping around a little bit. And ultimately, malpractice insurance protects your clients, and more importantly, it protects you and the investment that you have in your law license. Now, if you're a new lawyer recently graduating law school, you probably have student loan debt. Imagine trying to have to pay that without a license to practice law. It's going to get complicated. So protect yourself, follow the rules of professional conduct, follow all the other laws and rules of society, be prudent in everything you do, avoid mistakes whenever possible, but keep that insurance policy in place just in case. Have a good day. I'm Attorney Betzel.